Hey, how's it going, guys? It's Gavriel Irizarry. I just want to start off kind of asking you guys a question first. So, who thinks that they are an effective listener? If you guys are anything like me, I would have shot my hand up, be the first one to say, of course I am. I look at the person's eyes, I stay silent, don't move, just kind of look at them, wait to finish talking, and then I answer. While most of us would think that's the right answer, it's actually not quite true. There's a lot of different things that go into becoming an effective listener, which I'll go on in a little detail further on. I really became interested in this topic as I was reading through the Interactive Communication Playbook by Gamble and Gamble. When I reached their listening chapter, of course, I found out that there's actually a big difference between just hearing and listening, and actually being an effective listener at that. There's multiple strategies, and it's a skill set that you actually have to develop over time. So whenever my fiance would come home and tell me stories about her day from work, I'd think I'm listening, I'm being a good listener, but I'd always forget what she told me in the next couple of hours. So whenever she'd bring up a person in her story, I'd be like, who? And so that would really upset her. So obviously it's a good idea that I became an effective listener for that reason. But other than that, obviously becoming an effective listener is different strategies and skill sets. There's benefits, not just for your fiance not getting mad at you. There's a wide variety of them, which I'll go into them in further detail. And also, kind of want to talk about the effects that it could have on society as a whole if we all became effective listeners. So we'll start off, what makes somebody an effective listener? So to start off with that, we'll go with some 6 main steps that I think are important for you guys to know. We'll do hearing, understanding, remembering, interpreting, evaluating, and remembering. So these 6 are the main steps that you guys should know. Obviously, some of the simple ones that are self-explanatory: hearing, understanding, remembering. You just want to make sure you can understand the person, hear them, that it's not a loud, crowded room, and remembering what they said. Now, interpreting and evaluating go a little deeper into what really makes an effective listener. So interpreting and evaluating are kind of taking the message that the person said and really creating your own thoughts and ideas based off of your own experience from what they said, and coming up with what the message from them actually means in respect to whatever scenario they're going through in that day. And then responding is kind of combining all of that into whatever your answer is going to be to that person, to show them that you're actually paying attention to what they said and you care about what they said, to make them feel validated, of course. So, obviously, that's big main steps that you guys should remember to become effective listeners. There's also different strategies. I'll touch on one of them. It's called probing, which is also in the Interactive Communication Playbook, which kind of goes hand in hand with the 6 main steps, where you guys ask a question to the person, but it's not in a way to interrupt them or distract them from what they're saying. It's just to create a bigger thought about what they're speaking of, and it makes them feel respected and validated, and makes them want to keep talking to you, so it's great. So going on from that, the benefits of becoming an effective listener can be kind of broken down into 3 different steps, or 3 different areas, if you will. There's personal, professional, and the self. So for the personal, we're kind of talking about romantic relationships and family relationships. Whenever you become an effective listener in your personal relationships, you'll kind of have an increase in respect with each other, an increase in confidence level between each other, and trust. Obviously, relationships are really big on trust, so it's really important that you develop that skill. If we go on off of the Harvard Business Review, they actually did a study with 34,000 managers to see what was the best coaching values that they had, and they took the top 5% and kind of broke them down. So the benefits from that, in a professional level, since we're talking about the managers, most of them gained a big respect for each other in the workplace. They also were able to increase their knowledge gained whenever they talked to their coworkers or their peers, or if they were a manager, of course, whatever employees they had, they were able to listen to their concerns and really think about that and make the employee feel respected and self-worth. Now moving on to the self, benefits for the self, it really increases your confidence level and self-esteem, so that whenever you're talking to somebody or you're listening to somebody, you know that you're able to listen to them effectively, and you're able to build and grow relationships from that point going forward. Now, one main thing that's really important to remember is that the benefits of being an effective listener aren't just within that social bubble of where you interact with. It also has a societal impact, guys. So we'll be going over that now. Societal impacts of becoming an effective listener are kind of almost immeasurable. From the article in the USA Today, it showed that 75% of Americans say that incivility is a growing crisis in the US. Now, obviously, not a good sign. Many people. We always have a big divide on racial problems, political problems, religious, whatever it may be. There's always a problem, but recently we've kind of been closing off our ears and not really listening to each other at all. And that's one of the biggest problems with what we're having now. Now, in order to fix that, obviously we need to use our ears and start becoming effective listeners with each other. If once we become effective listeners through each other, we can help each other solve different problems, whatever issues we have, and understand each other's point of view. In order to do that, obviously we have to remember our 6 main steps. But of course, even in politics, we see politicians just kind of blurt out whatever they want, and they don't really care about the other side. But if we were all to become effective listeners, we'd be able to solve endless problems through that process. So guys, in conclusion, the 6 main steps to becoming an effective listener are hearing, understanding, remembering, interpreting, evaluating, and responding. The benefits can be broken down into 3 categories, and they all have to do with building confidence, trust, respect, and growing those relationships. And in society, guys, it could have endless impacts for what it means to be an effective listener, and endless impacts on policies and how we understand each other as a society in a whole. So guys, thank you so much for listening. I hope you guys have a great day.